So you ready? All right, thanks everyone for coming along today for Apple Pie, and also I believe Timo is giving a talk about perverted robots, AR, and Apple Pie. So, big hand for Timo.
Thank you. I know you're all here for the Apple Pie, but you have to wait until the end. Otherwise, everybody leaves right away. So I changed my title a little bit to perverted robots instead of just robots, because I am going to talk a little bit about perverted robots. And about a couple of other projects I've done in the past in my bachelor degree, and about what I'm doing right now. So first about me and that little country I'm from that everybody always confuses with some other countries, and nobody really knows where it is. So I studied in the Netherlands in Eindhoven, at the Technical University of Eindhoven. I studied industrial design there. The industrial design there is quite unique, as it focuses a lot on the whole process of coming up with a concept for a product, designing it, the looks, designing the software, the hardware for it, and eventually producing it and making a whole business and marketing model for it as well. So you get the whole circle, and I think what they try to make us is some kind of mediator between the people who are really professional in each one of these fields, and we become this overseeing entity that can do a little bit of everything. So as part of my studies there, I worked with Christoph on one of the projects, and I also did an internship in Japan at ATR. This is not a picture of ATR. Would be fun if it looked like that, but I didn't really have any pictures of ATR. But this was a nice picture of a local summer festival that was there. And it's my friend's host mother here in the front who was doing a cool dance. So I thought that's a cool picture to share. Next to my studies there, I'm part of a group called the Big Bug Collection. And this is basically a group of artists that go to festivals, and we paint T-shirts. So we pimp your shirt. That's one thing we do. The most common thing for other parts, we do some commissions. Right now, one of the guys at the group is painting some meeting rooms on the inside for a company. And we're also working on animating a music video for a band we know, and all those kind of stuff. It's a nice pastime activity, and they're all pretty cool people. So a bit about the Netherlands. I didn't bring my wooden shoes today. They were a bit heavy in the airplane as well, so I couldn't actually bring them. I don't actually own a pair, but some people still think we do walk on them, so I just thought I'd make it clear that I don't have any. And my mother has some there. They're horribly uncomfortable. I guess most people know Europe, but for some reason, a lot of people seem to confuse the Netherlands. That's over here with Denmark. That's over there, and there's this big part of Germany in between. So it's definitely something else. It's both really flat, and we both like biking. We both like licorice. Yeah, it's definitely something else. The Netherlands actually is like this. On the left is how it looks like right now, and on the right is how it's supposed to look. So if we weren't there. So you can see that Amsterdam is actually a city at the bottom of the ocean. And that there are like whole islands here that didn't exist before. So if you think that the sea level rises because of global warming, don't worry, it's just us. These very iconic for the Netherlands, of course. A lot of people think they're actually used to grind up, wheat and make flour, but they're actually used to pump out the water. Traditionally, of course, now we have electric pumps, and if you want to plan a terrorist attack, aim for the pumps that pump out the water, because if they stop working in about a day, the whole of the Netherlands looks like that again. So please don't. But although I'm pretty safe because I'm in Eindhoven, which is about here. So I just get the beach closer to me. I don't really mind. Amsterdam isn't a really good city anyway. We also like biking. This is just a shot of probably some bike stands at a train station. You can see they're two-layered. And there are actually more bikes than people in the Netherlands. We have about 17 million people now, and there's about 20 million bikes. I own 3 bikes in the Netherlands, 1 here, so I'm probably a big part of that number. The Netherlands is the safest country in the world to bike. You don't need to wear a helmet either, unlike here, where you get probably hit by a car every 10 minutes. But you might wonder, like, where do all those bikes go if we have so many bikes? And people still buy bikes, so where do they go? Well, there. Drunk people like to throw them in the canals, and then we take them out and we get this. So if you're ever looking for an old bike, you might want to dive in the canals. Right, so that was a little history lesson about the Netherlands, which we'll conclude with some apple pie at the end. I'll talk about one of the projects I did at my past university, which I like to call a perverted robot, but probably some other people might not. Christoph isn't here, so that's good. I did the project together with Christoph, and we were testing the influence of anthropomorphism of robots in the feeling of embarrassment for people. So we have this freaky robot. You can see him just looking right through your clothes, right? So this is the iCat. Philips made it, which is also a Dutch company, by the way. But it doesn't have any arms or limbs. It just this boost of a cat, which can move his eyes, eyebrows, mouth, and some blinky ears. We told our participants we had this robot, and we were testing it as a medical robot, so like a remote medical assistant. So instead of having the doctor come to you, you have this robot. Of course, it wasn't really true, and we had hidden cameras in the testing room because we were testing embarrassment. So how do you test embarrassment? Well, you have to make people do something embarrassing. And it's, of course, always a bit difficult. So we had 3 tasks, increasingly embarrassing. The first one was an self-eye examination. So you had a poster on the wall, just cover an eye and read the letters. Not very embarrassing, unless you're doing really bad. The second one was maybe a little bit more embarrassing. You had to take off your clothes until strip to your underwear and weigh yourself. The people could lock their door behind them, and they could, of course, quit anytime they wanted. And still, most people did weigh themselves. Not all of them undressed, luckily, because we were watching live, but because we had to control the robot. But yeah, quite interesting, quite embarrassing. The third one was to take your temperature, rectal. Not a lot of people did that, obviously. In either conditions, we had this robot and some kind of machine that didn't really look like anything at all. But yeah, quite a fun and interesting introduction to research, because that was the first research I've done. And there's a paper, if you want to read it, and see pictures of people. No, there's just one of our team posing, but still. I did another project with a robot. It's called Qaddafi It's an open source modular robot. I also call it the slightly retarded robot, or if you want to make it sound a little bit better, an artistic robot. This is a project that I did at the university in Eindhoven as well. Does everybody know what Qaddafi is? Probably not. But okay, so it's basically a way that poets in the surrealist art stream started writing poems. They write a line on paper, fold the paper, give it to the next person, write a line on paper. It's now a common children's game. You can also do that with drawings. Like this is one, you can see that there are folding lines here. So somebody drew the first part, connected, and just drew the 2 connecting lines, folded over, and somebody else draws the next part. So we did that on robots. And the only thing we decided on, it was a common platform. We all used Arduino, and we used a certain connector to connect all the limbs of the robot together. And then we split up, and we just all started designing our parts for the robot. And in the end, we tried to put them together. And this is the side view of a robot that came out. So you can see head here, and a weird body, a limb here, and I have a little video of it that shows it how it tries to move. So these are the parts I made. They have like every part basically had an Arduino in it, and there was some kind of intelligence, but maybe you can't really see it as soon as it starts moving. So the concept was that you could get these parts at airports in different countries, and you would collect them as some kind of new interactive souvenir that you could then connect and hopefully get some effect. So basically the head had a motive. Every head that we made had a motive. In this case, this one wants to go to the light. And it would then start sending random signals from a set of commands it had to its limbs. And then if something good happened, like he got closer to the light, he repeated that signal more often. So it was some kind of basic intelligence in it. Obviously, it was the first time one of these kind of projects ran, and for a first iteration, well, it worked, at least. It gets better and worse. So this project was done together with the Waag Society, or the HITLab in Amsterdam. A HITLab, for people who don't know what a HITLab is a fabrication laboratory. They're all over the world. You have a couple in New Zealand, not in Christchurch, I think, where they have like 3D printers, laser cutters, all kind of electronics. In Amsterdam, they even have this big table that can CNC mill like giant pieces of wood. It's really cool. You can just go there, use everything for free. There are people that can help you explain about them, about the machines, and inspire you. The only requirement is that you pay for your own material that you use, and you make everything open source. So all the blueprints of things you make have to go on the website with a tutorial, which I think is a great concept. So all the Fab Labs in the world can access this data and make it as well. So one of the guys in the team of the robot actually went here and did his internship here and made another robot, a second iteration, that looked a little bit more professional. He was really focusing on making the parts and the connecting parts platform that everybody could use, and focus less on so you can see at least it walks a lot better. I actually did a third iteration with this project in Manchester in the UK, where we were invited to come to the Future Everything event, which is an event about new technology and combining art with technology. And we were asked to give a workshop in the Fab Lab in Manchester and get some people all over Europe, from all over Europe, to make their own Qaddafi X-Keys robot, which was really funny because all these people never touched any of these machines, so I could show them around the Fab Lab. And they made one robot that looked very interesting, and for some reason that video didn't want to play in here, so hello. There we go. It's a bit freaky, so if you get nightmares, don't blame me. So again, every part made by somebody else. They had no idea what the other one was doing. But it's moving. So from that point on, we started calling it art instead of science. Let's see. So that concept actually inspired me to do another project outside of university with a friend to combine that Qaddafi X-Keys concept and another one of my passions is drawing and making comics. So I contacted a friend when I was on my internship in Japan, like, okay, let's do a Qaddafi Excuse comic. So we did that. He just started with a page, and after that I drew a page, and then he drew a page, and we never talked about the story. We didn't have a story. And eventually I think now we have about 100 pages that you can browse through, and there is some kind of story. So I'm really interested in how these creative processes just appear without anybody monitoring it. So this is, for instance, the first page he drew. I will give you a short preview of 6 pages. So he just drew this out of nothing, and then my reaction to that was this. Then he drew this, I drew this, he drew this, I drew this, and another 100 pages after that. So if you want to read the whole thing, it's at travality.com. And I'm also doing a master's here. I'm not just the person sitting in the corner that James is doing right now, not paying attention. So I actually do a master about interaction design for AR communication spaces. Originally, it actually started as AR for remote collaboration, but during my process, that kind of changed to more in the direction of interaction design, because that's something I prefer to do. And in the end, I'll give you a short demo of how it looks. My concept was basically to have a virtual conferencing room where you have like people flying around, like a virtual 3D Skype call. That's all done before, but I was really focusing on sharing files and queuing the user. So in this case, the people in the virtual space requested files from the user, and they did that in 2 different ways. One was with spatial audio, where you could actually hear where the sound was coming from, so what person you had to send the file to. And the other one was with just visual cues, where you didn't actually hear anything, and you just had to look around and look for the person who was asking to send the file. There were also 2 interfaces on the tablet that you used to send the file. I'll show that. That's an exocentric, or more like a radar view, that looked like this, where you had you in the middle and the people flying around you. You might recognize some of the people. Extra apple pie if you can name all of them. No, that was a joke. So in this case, you could just drag one of those shapes, which were representing the files, onto the person that was asking for it. And the view also updated with your head, like a real radar thing. I'll show it in a bit. The other interaction method was an egocentric, or a swipe method, where you basically just had this, and you had to look at the person that was requesting, in this case James, who really wants a blue square. You look at James and you throw him the blue square, and then you'll see it appear on your head-mounted display. So I'll give a little demo if that's going to work. Who knows, live demos and stuff. Okay. So you can see that if it works or not. Okay. Not. No! Ah, there we go. Okay, let's try that again. I just tested it, so it should work. No, it just doesn't want to. I'll see. It's something that just happens always with live demos, right? I mean, you can even see it at Google's presentations. Interesting. Huh. Oh well, no live demo. If you want a live demo later, you can just ask me. Yeah, let's try one more time. Otherwise, I can't really show this either. What? I didn't change anything. Okay, never mind. No live demos. I can do a live demo later if you're interested. It does actually look pretty cool, I think, especially if you think that I'm not a programmer. So with that, I would say, are there any questions? Or if you want to look more of see more about the projects I've done or anything. I'm compiling a portfolio. It's not done yet, but you can just have a look if you want. And questions or apple pie, whatever you want first. No, everybody wants apple pie, right? I have all the data, but now I have to look at it and get results. But I don't really know where to start. So, yeah, I've had all my participants through, and we'll see. Maybe I do another short seminar later to show what the results are.
Who's sharing the information or the file? Is this person like an operator?
Yeah, so the original concept was remote collaboration. So you could think of it as you have one person who's on location and needs conference with some people. He can initiate that conference, and other experts or remote workers just sit behind your desktop. Or maybe they have a similar kind of system, but that's not where I focus on. So yeah, the main user is definitely the one that's on location, has the headset on, and sees this virtual space. You could, for instance, there have been projects that work with like a virtual 3D model in the middle of something where people look around and talk about it. So this is just one aspect of that whole paradigm. Apple pie? Yeah. Apple pie. Okay. I have a knife, but you might want to get some plates or something.